my destiny.
All right, guys. Welcome back to the Black Book Podcast. Today we have a great story with Miss Chanel. I believe Chanel. I think you were the very first person to take me around the city in Beijing in 2016 or 2017. I believe so. Because you took me to Xidan. I think you were the very first person. You took me to Xidan. I think we went to Guamao and some other places. We rode the train for like a couple. We rode the subway for a couple of hours. Yeah.
Man, we did.
Yeah.
Where did we go? Plan B. I think that's what we ate at. Plan B,
right? we ate at the burger spot. Don't say because Americans don't know.
Oh yeah.
Y'all
spot called Plan B.
It's a burger spot called Plan B.
True.
What y'all talking about?
Isn't that like a bad thing? Like, you sure we okay?
So we went to Plan B.
Right.
No, but yeah, that's what we did. I think you took me out to have a nice little burger and / Mexican food, and which is like really weird for your first time in China. People are like, "You eat Mexican food in China?" Dude, you don't have no idea. You have no idea. Like I had a friend tell me, "Oh, why are you eating Korean noodles in China?" Oh, because Korea right next to China.
You don't know. It's the same like in the States. Like, why are you eating tacos every Tuesday? Because it's tradition. You know, you just do. You just do.
People don't understand.
Yeah, I think. Yeah. We came in the same time, right? I think.
I think you were. Yeah, we came in the same year, but I think you were a few months ahead of me. Coming in.
Yeah, I came in
because I came in December.
Yeah, I came in the summertime, like late June, July. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, really quickly, Chanel, can you just introduce yourself? Tell people where you're from, what you're doing, how long you've been in China, what's up, what's the sitch?
All right. Well, where I'm from is always a hard one because I started off as a military brat.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Well, look at you learning something. Mm-hmm. Started off as a military brat. Grew up East St. Louis area, so Southern Illinois, but I always rep Chicago because it's always home to me. From there, when I was like 2, my parents got married and we moved to Texas, Fort Hood, where my little sister was born. Then we came back to East St. Louis. I don't know why we came back. I guess just to see family. Then we made the big trip to Panama, Central America. So that was like my initial exposure to diversity, as weird as it is. Okay. And I started preschool and kindergarten there. And then my parents decided that, we need to go back and have our children be with their family. And I wish they would have allowed us to keep traveling, but we settled. And here I am. So So that was my pre-exposure to traveling, which I long for that all throughout my youth, just having that exposure to travel like that again, because the area I grew up in was predominantly Black, and I never got to experience that mini world, that diversity until I got to college. Well, grad school to be exact.
Okay. Where'd you go to school?
Which one? Which one? Grad school was Southern Illinois University of Edwardsville. My bachelor's was McKendree University. It had just turned into a university in a country town. Edwardsville was a little bit, well, I ain't gonna say a little bit. Edwardsville was definitely a lot bigger and a lot more diverse. So, and then I'm going to school here to get my Montessori certification, so I could travel the world and be a Montessori teacher if I want. So.
Right. So
Gotta have
you're
something in your back
wait,
pocket.
you're in school now in China in Beijing for your Montessori certificate.
Mm-hmm.
How's that going?
It's going. It's going.
I didn't know that.
It's going. It's been a long process. For the first 2 years, I did the weekend course. So I had a year basically of every other weekend was taken by school from 8 to 5:30 was going to school, learning these techniques, learning these procedures. So I was grateful for holidays. So this year was the year of turning in on your assignments and then having that graded, like your portfolio books, and having that graded. But of course, Corona put a delay in everything. So I'm trying to finish that up now
Corona
so
messed a
that
lot of
next year
things
I
up.
can have my papers. Oh, Corona. God, oof.
Mm.
But yeah.
So what made you come to China?
Oh, I was fed up. Honestly, I was fed up with the way my life was going back home. I had just graduated from getting my master's in teaching English as a second language, and I
Okay.
wanted to join and wanted to start working at my old school district, but was told basically that I was overqualified. So that that
Isn't
hurt my
that
feelings. Like that.
isn't that supposed to be a good thing?
Yeah, but good thing or not, I wasn't getting paid.
Yeah.
Overqualified, you didn't get the job. So I wanted to teach English, but I didn't want the traditional setting. That's the
Right.
thing. I didn't want to be in a traditional school district and teach and get burnt out, because what I've experienced is teachers having getting burnt out before they have like 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, and they're no longer having that passion, that drive they had. And I didn't want to be that type of teacher where you come in so bright and youthful and just ecstatic about what you're doing, and then by the end of your term you're smoking a cigarette with alcohol up under your desk, like, look, I'm just trying to get through the day.
Get through the day. Right.
I didn't want to be one of those teachers. And I also love to travel. So which is the reason why I went to school, was that I wanted to teach English abroad and experience what that's like, being in
Okay.
another culture, another country, and do something that I love, English. So that ultimately led me to apply for jobs abroad. First, it was within South America, but then I was looking at the pay scale and I'm like, I'm not even able to. I mean, I'm gonna stick here because I can at least make it. It's beautiful,
Right.
but it was like the things that I wanted to pay, because these loans, it wasn't gonna equal up.
Yeah.
So
Salome don't care because you out of the country. She want her
she
money.
does not care. She does not care. She's like, oh, you have friends and family with credit cards? No, Sally. No. You were my lifeline. So I I applied to different places online, and I Disney was the one that contacted me back. So
Right.
it was still like something that was that push that I needed, was essentially to be fed up at the lack of opportunities, especially feeling like you followed the protocol of going to school and going back to school to further your education, and then when you're done, you're like, where the jobs at? So I was like, no, if the jobs aren't there, let me go somewhere where they are, or let me go create my own. I
Right.
didn't have the capital to create my own, so I went somewhere where they are.
Right.
So that's essentially what led me here. So
Yeah. I have about almost the same story. Where like I wasn't finding opportunities, and this opportunity came to China, came up, and I was like, all right, I'm there. I've been here ever since.
it it sucked though, because when I accepted the position here, then one of the jobs that I applied for in Chicago was like, oh, by the way, we want to have an interview with you, and I'm like, bruh, I just accepted a job to China. Like, where were y'all at like a week or two
A
ago?
week
Like, I
ago.
would have said something, but I guess that's the way it was supposed to be, is that you find something else, and then, when you have one thing, all the other things come up. So here I am.
This is very, very true. Very, very true. So how about like you've been in China working for different companies.
Mhm.
How many different companies have you worked for?
3. This will be my 3rd.
Your third. Okay, okay. Much less than me.
Yeah. Look, well, I started off with Disney English, as you know. I started off with Disney English. That was my gateway into China. Um, Either you like it or you don't. What I've been told is, and what I've experienced is that if you really, really like teaching and education, then that's not for you. But if you really don't care, then you'll stick with it for a long time. So
Mm-hmm.
I was the type of person who was fed up and said, this is not teaching, and went somewhere else. So I wound up being with Eaton Kids, which was my exposure to Montessori. And I wanted to further my education with that. So that's why I started going to school to learn more about the Montessori way of teaching. Um, Left that job, or was quit from that job, and found another job with the Children's House, where now I have my own classroom. So it's levels, it's levels.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, those jobs like Disney or where I worked for EF, those are always the jobs that you just get your foot in the door. And then you
that's it. Yeah.
always find better opportunities once you're here, just because you're just around. You're
If
more on the
I were
internet.
here first, I would have never, I probably would have never did Disney. I'm like, what's the hours and what's the pay? Nah, I'm good. But you gotta have those step jobs to get to where you need to
Yeah,
be.
yeah, yeah. There's this guy in college. He was like, dude, at some point in your life, you got to be somebody's bitch. Like, and those jobs with them terrible hours and, the lackluster communication and all that other stuff like that. Like, that is the example of me being somebody's bitch. Like
Yeah,
just doing whatever just to get by.
that's the truth. Either you like being somebody's bitch or you become the bitch. So that's essentially what it becomes.
Mm-hmm. This is true.
Yeah.
So now I'm looking on WeChat nowadays, and you are a baker.
Yes,
You
I
are a
am
baker.
now, aka SugaMama.
SugaMama. Uh-oh.
Yes.
That's a proud family.
Yes. Hey,
You
she
putting
was
your
something to
foot
be reckoned with now.
you putting your foot in that? Because y'all remember
You
that
know,
episode?
yes, put your foot in it,
Yeah.
roll your ankle.
Mm,
I do what I do. Um, yeah, I bake here. That essentially started because of the lack of dessert options here.
okay.
Um, Actually, it was something as weird as it was. The old hatchery, which for all those who don't know, was like a incubator for all budding businesses, and that's where there was a Caribbean day I remember us going to. They had like the big, who was it? I think LaChandra, one of my friends who's also an entrepreneur, so fresh, so clean. A little shout out. She had a giant Jenga, and I remember us playing it there at that incubator. Remember the hatchery?
The hatchery. Oh my god. I haven't been in a
Yes, the
hatchery in
hatchery.
years. Yeah.
Yeah, that hatchery was the same one that me and Olivia, we were, shout out to Enemy Bakery, were
Right.
the same ones that we sat down and ate Gail's uh, jerk chicken wings, and we were talking about desserts and baking. And I do believe from that's where she basically introduced that she wanted to start baking. And I was like, I like baking too. And she was like, well, that only could be one. I was like, no, there could be more than one. So we essentially started or decided, I came upon the idea that, yeah, we were going to start baking and that, yeah, we both were going to do it. So
Right.
it's, it's been amazing to see her blossom, and it's been amazing to blossom myself from that.
Wait,
Just
you've been baking that long?
I've been baking, yeah, but I haven't been as publicized. But yeah, I've been baking. My schedule was different, so she came out. a long time, like a year before me, because I still was working for Disney, so I couldn't do any markets or anything like that. Because our schedules for
Yeah.
training centers, for all those who don't know, the peak days are the weekends, and that's when most of the markets are. So I was never able to do anything.
Yeah.
So
That's
it
why I
wasn't
never
until
made any of those markets.
exactly all the
Hmm.
good stuff people were going to, you're like, looks nice.
Got that
So
good
it
job.
wasn't
Got that
until
weekend off.
right, must be nice. So it wasn't until I switched jobs that I was able to do the markets and actually bake because I had the time to do it. So,
Okay.
but yeah,
I didn't know. I feel like now I missed out on so much. Like I just moved from Beijing last year. You've been baking since before then. Oh,
I
I don't know
attended
where
her
I was.
first. I attended BE Black Expo's first one they had in Beijing, and I've been doing it ever since.
I couldn't. I could never go to the Black Expos because of my
Yep,
job.
yep,
But hey,
yep.
soon as the next one's out, I'm there. I might even hit
I'm
like two or
trying.
three of them.
I went to the Shanghai one, and it was nice. Was it last year? Yeah, it was last year, and it was nice to see one and not be a vendor. Because when you're a vendor, you don't really get to experience unless you have somebody watching your table. But it was nice to just
Right.
be a spectator and buy and be like, oh, this is what I feel like. Oh, okay. let me amp up my experience next time as a vendor, so I know what it is, how clientele and customers enjoy the market.
Right.
So yeah, but it's okay. I mean, real G's move in silence like lasagna, like I say.
Yeah.
That's my
Oh,
motto for bake.
real G's moving silence like lasagna. Okay, I like that.
Yeah, that's basically how I describe SugaMama, is that I've been building over time what I want to do and improving in my techniques and how I present my cakes. Like, for one, I wasn't baking cakes. SugaMama was not baking cakes. Like, that was not what I was doing. Because that
Okay.
was something that I was afraid of, to bake something so massive and have so many people eat. Like cupcakes, I would do cookies, no problem. But an actual birthday cake, you ain't cussing me out for making your day bad. So,
Oh,
but eventually I got requests for cakes and I had to conquer that fear. And I was like, you know what? It ain't nothing but a big cupcake. And I started,
essentially,
I
yeah.
mean, you know, so I started making more of those and trying to improve my technique. Like, I'm always one to, like, okay, how can I improve? What's the feedback? Like, give me good and bad. I need to know. Like, don't feel like I'm not the type of person that, oh, if you tell me something negative about my desserts, that I'm gonna just cut you off. No, I need to know the good and bad. I'm like, what would make me cut you off is how you treat me in
Right.
the process. That'll
Right.
cut you off, but not the dessert themselves, because you trusted me with that. So I'm supposed to put the blood, sweat, and tears in it so you could enjoy it. So thus far, I have pretty good clientele that's giving me feedback and help me improve. Like,
So who's buying your goods?
mostly Americans and South Africans.
Okay. Why did you choose the name Sugar Mama?
That name actually is why not and he takes a sip. That name was actually what I called my mom, because she was the one who bakes a lot for the holidays. It was nothing for her to bake. That was something that I actually looked forward to, with her desserts more than the food. But they were
Okay.
equally as good. So I would call my mom Sugar Mama, because she was the one who would bake the goods and the cheesecakes, the German chocolates, the banana pudding. So that was her thing, was doing it from scratch. Like,
Right.
I don't think we ever had a birthday cake that was bought, because she always made it.
Hmm.
So yeah, so so that was something I'm like, y'all don't know nothing about that store bought. Like, so
Yeah.
Mama is
I
common.
grew up a little bit of both. My mother knows how to bake, but every now and then she'll go to Walmart, get her a cake, or whatever. Go to Jewel's. uh, Oh,
I mean, every now and then, people job change and you have time or don't, but she always bakes this cakes. And I do remember that, like seeing her bake and me being a little chubster was always in the kitchen. So unlike my sisters, I was always in the kitchen. So it got to the point where I was like, well, come here and help me make this. Well, give me that egg or give me that and give me this. So I'm always seeing the ingredients that's put into these desserts.
mm-hmm.
Then to the part where I started driving and it's like, all right, you know what I need for this cake, right? Go to the store and go get those ingredients. So so I was like, okay,
Right.
I'm getting the ingredients. I know what's incorporated into this. I know what she needs to being in college and actually making it myself because I was homesick and like, well, I want my mama cookies. And well, you know how to make them, right? Well, go ahead and make your mama cookies and share them with everybody else. So
Right.
that butted off is just the lack of having that home.
That is a great skill to have, especially like being abroad or just being away from home in general. Because not only yourself but other people get to have like that little piece of home, even if it's just like something sweet every now and then. Um, so I'm pretty sure people are ecstatic about SugaMama's cupcakes, cookies, and birthday cakes.
It's comfort food. That's what we miss, especially when tensions are high between countries. And
Hmm.
you just need that comfort food. You just need something to take the stress away, even if it's temporarily. So yeah. And then I wanted to do that twist to it. I didn't want to just do exactly grandma's or great grandma's recipes. I wanted to modernize it a little bit and incorporate alcohol into some of my desserts. And it worked.
Okay.
So
So let's back for a second. You mentioned that you were talking with Olivia, who was my first guest, who is also the owner of Kennedy Bakery, that you guys were talking about Chinese desserts and how they suck. What do you not like about the desserts here in China?
I don't like that they are flavored air. Yeah. So I I love the appearance. I would give them kudos for the appearance. They look beautiful.
Right.
But when you have food, you eat with your eyes. You want something to taste as delicious as it looks.
Right.
And I've been let down a many a times for staff birthdays because something looks beautiful, has the pineapples or the mangoes on top, and then you
On
taste it and you're
top.
like, I have not seen so many fruits. That's something I'm not used to, cakes and fruits, unless it's a pie, I understand. But if you
Or
give me a
fruit
cake,
cake around Christmas time.
something, that I expect. Do not put fruit on my cake. Like, I want icing, I want chocolates, I want drizzles and caramels. I do not want fruits on my cake. But that's something you know, if I wanted a sponge cake that was not as sweet, then I would know where to go. But if I wanted something more
I got
comfort
fooled.
food,
I got fooled one time. I
let
was
me be
in a
clear.
bakery. I was in a bakery. Oh, I don't even know how I even got into this bakery. I think I was like with a friend, and I was like, man, it was like this tiramisu little square thing. I was like, oh, that looks good, and I bought it. I took a bite of it, and it was in my mouth went because it wasn't really nothing in it. It
Like, how did you fluff it up and
was
deflate
real
it at the
fluffy.
same time?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, what type of sorcery? Yeah, I was full when I was looking for chocolate and had red beans. I don't trust chocolate here. I don't trust it. I don't trust it. Now I know the symbols for chocolate, but that was initially the letdown. Like, oh, I got some chocolate. Oh, that's this. And then when you eat it, it's sweet red beans, and you're like,
Red bean.
this isn't even a Boston baked bean. It's like you're like the audacity for you to put a bean in a pastry. Like
A bean.
you might as well put meat. So yeah,
And they'll put
it's been
and they'll mess around and put whipped cream on top of it too.
you just look you like, oh, whipped cream is it's legit good. No, it's a letdown. It just the icing on the cake that just deflated.
It's
It's
just
like
icing.
wonk wonk. Yeah, and they like it. I love it, but I choose not to eat it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a letdown. But I do like the designs. I do like the way they take their time and they make it look appealing. I like that. They put effort to it now. But I don't understand how they did not get the concept of taste. But
Well, they have a
different
Chinese
taste
people
buds,
in
I guess.
general. They
Different
yeah.
palate.
They
But
they have a different way of tasting sweetness and things like that. Um, we as Americans, especially as Black Americans, we generally like really sweet things, and Chinese people don't like
yeah,
really sweet things.
they don't like sweet. It doesn't seem like they like sweet at all. Like a melon or apple is sweet to them. And we're like, what sweetness? Like a Granny Smith, like
Right,
you said, this is sweet. This is not sweet.
right.
But yeah, but for what they don't like in sweetness, they love in spiciness. Like there is no lack in spicy here, but it's the type of spicy. You're right. It's the
Oh,
type of
oh man! Look, Chinese spicy is all good with me. I'll take it. But one time I got fooled. I bought a Snickers bar, and I wasn't really looking at the bar. I wasn't looking at it, and I paid for it, took it home, opened it up, and it tastes like Snickers bar at first, and then had that spicy aftertaste. And I look at the wrapper; it was like it was like Snickers with the Sichuan spicy, and I was
That's
like,
disrespectful. That's disrespectful. That's disrespectful. How you gonna add some type of spice like that? So now your mouth numb, and you're like, but it was good though, but it's numb.
what? It wasn't like I didn't buy it like no bootleg store. It was like at a 7-Eleven. You know what I'm saying? So it was like
A
legit. It was like
legit snicker.
yeah, it was like a legit Snickers.
That's the thing that really had to throw me aback is the flavors. Like the flavors of things like Cheetos here is not there's not a cheesy Cheeto unless you get it from a foreign market. There's always a shrimp flavor, a chicken flavored Cheeto, and a beef flavored Cheeto. Like I
I've
didn't
even seen the
know that.
tomato flavored
Yeah,
chips, Frito Lay's.
yeah, and it's like I didn't know that somebody can disrespect Cheetos to the fact of making it taste like what is perceived as chicken and beef.
Have you ever gotten fooled? Have you ever gotten fooled by that spicy Cheeto bag?
Yes, and it's not spicy.
It is not spicy.
You're like,
Talk about
oh, flaming
they
hot
got they
Cheetos.
got the flaming hot Cheetos. You
Oh,
open the bag
my
up.
hands gonna be red today. No, no, I'm sorry to say you will not have red fingertips. That has gotten me many a days, and I've been dumb enough to go back thinking that they got. Oh, it was a mix-up.
It was a mix up.
No. Oh, they mislabeled it because it's China. They didn't know. They
Yeah,
thought
they
it was
didn't know.
spicy. No, no, they knew. They know that.
Oh, I got fooled by that. I bought two big bags. Because you go to the international supermarket, Olay in Beijing, they got the big bag of the spicy Cheetos.
So we
I was
thought.
like,
So we thought.
I gave them to my Chinese colleagues. I was like, oh, no, I'm good. I don't want, you don't want them? No, I just bought them, and I didn't want them. Sorry. You can have them.
Oh, okay. I'm like, this is not spicy. I'm supposed to go around with red lips, red fingertips. You know what I'm saying? You're supposed to ask me, are you okay? I'm good. I'm good. Your voice changed a little bit.
But you can
Yeah.
buy them on Taobao though.
Yes, you can, but I'm
I
hoping
bought
that
them.
well, my shop didn't have any, so I need to find another
Well, I got a link. I got a link because whenever I'm
shop.
feeling
Share with me.
when I'm in the mood.
Share it with me. Share it with
Because
me. 'Cause
have you been to Hong Kong?
I have. I have.
They sell the flaming hot Cheetos in Hong Kong. Have you seen them?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
I bought
That's
like 3
one of
bags.
the reasons why I love Hong Kong. That and Lush is like the things that I could get from home that I'm like, so this is why are y'all so why China don't like y'all? Like like y'all got so much of the Yeah,
But Hong Kong's
I
too
enjoy
expensive.
the product.
Hong Kong's too expensive, though. It's
Yeah,
like one of the most expensive cities I've ever been to. I think it is the most expensive city I've been to.
I do. Yeah, it is. It is, but it's like it has that. I don't know. It has that home feeling, like that diverse feeling that I really like. And I'm like, yeah, it's expensive, but I enjoy it. I
Yeah.
enjoy it. I have a good time every time I go. So
Every time I go to Hong Kong, my girlfriend, she hates Hong Kong though. It's because she's mainland Chinese people and like they don't get along. Even before all the riots and the hoopla or whatnot, all the stuff like that. We went out there. They didn't show her no love. She was like, I'm not going back to Hong Kong. I'm going back to Hong Kong. You can stay here.
you're like, all right, you can stay home, but I'm gone.
I'm going back to Hong Kong.
I bring you something back.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cause like they got Five Guys in Hong Kong, Shake Shack. Oh, Beijing's got Shake Shack.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
We just got one.
Yeah,
I haven't been to it yet.
I'm planning a trip to Beijing and Shanghai because Shanghai got Popeyes now.
I saw that. I'm like, really? Like, so this is the reason why people like.
Just for those two places.
This is really why people are like, so are you going home? I mean, for family, yeah, but if it's like amenities, I can get it sent here, and then we're getting them now. So it's like, what's the rush? Yes. What's the rush? Like, so.
All right, so let me ask you another question.
Okay.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good.
So a lot of people during when the virus hit, a lot of people are like telling me, "Oh, you should come home," blah blah blah, all the things like that. Because you just mentioned, going home, and in my mind, I was like, "Go home for what?" Like I ain't got no job there.
Right.
Well, like
set up, they're here. So
I have no job there. So yeah, how did you stayed in China? What was your reasons for staying? Because I know a lot of people left, a lot of foreigners left that can't get back in right now. But what was your reason for staying?
My main reason was, yes, my job is here, and literally with my boyfriend, we were thinking about going traveling, and I decided. We initially said yes, and then I thought about it. I pondered a little bit and was like, okay, babe, this virus is situated in China right now. A lot of people are going home like they normally do. Don't you think this is going to go home with them? And he was like, well, I haven't heard any cases. Literally, this was our conversation. Like, he was like, well, I haven't heard any cases. I'm like, babe, when has it been something that is airborne? Just stay in one place. I said, a lot of people are going home, and then a lot of Chinese folks are traveling other places. And no one's monitoring. They're only monitoring in China thus far. I said, everybody back home, they still kicking it like ain't nothing happening. We're over here saying we're in lockdown, and they're like, oh, sucks to be you. Literally, that's how they were. Mm-hmm. And I was like, stuff here, we're wearing masks. You're wearing masks. We're like, yeah, we're wearing masks, because we want to breathe. But that's, people dying. And, Wuhan, everyone I was talking to back home were saying, so how far are you from Wuhan? And I'm like, far. Like, far. Like it's far. Like, there's Wuhan, there's me way up there. Like, look at a map, Google it. But it was the essential thing of that I didn't want to go home because just the way that things was then, there was no structure. And I already felt then that United States is like 50 different countries. There's no set order. So if something pops off, what are we going to do? So I essentially said it would be easier here because all my comforts are here. I said, if we're struggling here. We at least know how to get around. My finances are here. If not, I know how to make money here. And in comparison to back home, I can't say, hey guys, I'm tutoring or something like that. I couldn't do that back home. They're laughing at me like, oh, you ain't making no money. If I wanted to make money back home, I could braid somebody's hair or something like that, right. Or cook something. But there wasn't no way to make instant money like that back home. So here, I figured it was best for us to stay here and safer. And at least when China says something, it goes for all of China, rather than if Illinois says something, It's just Illinois and Missouri out there still kicking up rocks, but doing what they want to do. But Illinois on lockdown. So I like the fact that here, what goes for one goes for all. So that's essentially why I stayed, and I'm happy that I stayed because who knew they was gonna shut down borders? Who knew? No one knew. But
that is the truth. That's what I was telling people. I was telling people, hey, look, Wuhan is bigger than New York. Like Wuhan is an international city with I think they have 2 airports that have international flights that have direct flights to different cities in different countries, like to Australia, Europe, the US, Africa, anywhere you can name, Wuhan can go because it's so central in China. It's not Beijing or Shanghai, but it's still a huge place to go, a huge place to stay in and be, and it's so central. And I was just it's gonna happen. I was telling people, I was all on Facebook, I was a Facebook warrior the first month and a half, telling people.
Well, you have to be. It forced you to be that way because folks back home weren't making it easier. They're like, oh well, I hope you're okay and all this, and then you're trying to tell them and you're trying to forewarn them, like, hey guys, please stock up on masks, do all this, because eventually a lot of the folks here went to America, went to the States. So you're like, okay, some folks felt that okay, I can escape it, and that's only in China. So they went back home, not knowing that there were some people who already had it there, who made it. Yeah. So I was like, how?
Or you were at the airport because you bumped into somebody who was coming from Wuhan, and now you got it, and you asymptomatic.
Yeah, because you didn't have a mask on. That's not something that mask in the States. That's not something that we may have pollution, but we don't have it. It's not normal to wear a mask. So people just, the first thing they were like, objecting having a mask on. Here, we're like, okay, it's a pollution day. I like to breathe. I have asthma. I'm gonna put a mask on. So it's something normal for us to stay here. Yeah, it's normal for us to have it here. So we don't feel any type of way. They tell us to wear a mask. Boom, I got 2. What? Back home.
That's something I learned back when I moved to China, because 2016 in December, they had a really rough, I don't know if you remember this, the AQI was 800 or something like that in Beijing, which is crazy.
You could not see what the building in front of you.
You couldn't see anything. And then it got worse on New Year's Eve because it was foggy and it was pollution.
Polluted. So you're like, which one is it? You're like, both. Okay.
It's a little bit of both. Yeah, keep that mask on. So yeah, I've always learned, hey, keep 1 or 2 masks in your bag at all times. Even if it's a clear day, I always got a mask on because you never know. As soon as them factories turn on, man, depending on what they making in there and how long that factory gonna be working.
Yeah, that and umbrella, because that summer was when I experienced flood. It did the weather was kind of similar to now, where it's very hot and humid, and then we had heavy rainstorms. Hot and humid, heavy rainstorm. It was a constant pattern of that. So if you left outside and did not have an umbrella, you were stupid, because at any moment it could rain. It was my bad.
That wasn't me. That was me. But I thought I was smarter than the weather, because I had a moped around that time. I was like, you know what? I can beat the rain.
Says no one ever. The weather's like, oh yeah.
I was like, I don't live that far, and my batteries are charged up. I'm just gonna zip through these cars, blah blah blah. Halfway home, wet. Everything's wet. Everything's just wet.
So you coming home soggy, or you like, what? I'm gonna take a DD.
Soggy.
Because
Nah, I never left I've learned not to leave my moped anywhere. These
battery out.
These batteries, they like Cadillac Converters, in America. Cadillac people still Cadillac Converters.
Yes. You're like, how you leave but take the battery. And you're like, why you didn't take the bike with it? Nope, just want the battery.
Look, I got my batteries were stolen outside of Lily's before. You know Lily's in San Antonio. My batteries were stolen outside of Lily's before. That's how gangster they are with the batteries. Quick too. I was only in there for like 40 minutes.
Long enough. Long enough. They probably sat there, ordered something, came back. Oh, I'm gonna take this battery while I'm at it. Yeah, that's one thing they do here. It's like you gotta lock it up, take the battery with you wherever you're going. Take your battery with you. Like I'd rather you be like, yeah, you tried it.
All right.
But,
so how was the bakery during the COVID-19 process? Because like in China, we're like almost out of it in China. You know, I know Beijing is a little bit different, but I live in Sichuan. Hey, we cooling over here.
Oddly enough, it grew. Okay. Oddly enough, I had projected that it wasn't going to grow as much because everyone was on lockdown. But oddly enough, I had more orders for cakes. So I guess people were figuring that they couldn't go anywhere. The least they can do is buy a cake.
They can buy a cake for lockdown.
Yeah. I actually, because I was actually delivering the cake or finding some way to get them the cake. I was hand delivering them because I did not want anything. Whoa. Yeah. I did not want anything to mess up the cake. The courier's here, you deliver it to them. And I had one instance where a cake shifted. And I said, I did not give them a slanted cake. Like you had one task, and that was to keep the cake fine and to deliver. So I was like, I'm never doing that again, unless it's like a single layer cake. So when it comes to like multi-layers and it's decorative, I'm like, I deliver it myself. So transportation fee, please include. So to make sure in hand, whatever happens to it afterwards, I do not care. Light it on fire, blow it up, smash it in somebody's face. I do not care. But upon arrival, it was there intact. So, okay. But that even that was a little difficult too, because of course a lot of communities were shut down. So it's like, how about we have to meet at a place. So it's like meet here, or I'm gonna meet outside here. And I need you to be here because so these folks won't look at me some type of way because I'm not supposed to be here. I'm not familiar. They don't recognize me. You know, come promptly so I can do a drop off and go back home.
So COVID gave you like an opportunity to like get more exposure because people were just at home not doing anything and they wanted that SugaMama sweetness.
Yeah, oddly enough, you know, people weren't doing anything. Everyone wasn't at work, so you have more time to be at home. You want some Southern comfort foods. People have birthdays still. I had a COVID birthday. So okay. You still want to be able to celebrate. So yeah, oddly enough. And it definitely improved my skills because of the type of cakes people wanted. Like during this time, I learned how to make fondant. And that was something that I was like, fondant. But I like the way it looked. So I started making it.
All right. Well, did you ever get your delivery situation situated? Are you still hand delivering your goods?
Yes, I am. I'm still hand delivering it. I am. I only use the courier when it comes to like a single level cake. If it's like a pound cake or something like that, then yeah, you could go ahead. That cake ain't shipping nowhere. So, right,
so if I wanted a cake, and we don't live in the same city,
it's possible. What you mean? SF exists.
You gonna drive to Chengdu?
SF Express exists. If it's a single level cake, we can make it happen.
Oh, okay, all right. So I have to just order 3 different single layer cakes, not making me a 3-layer cake. I'm joking.
look, I will include the icing and say, look, it's simple at your own risk. But I haven't sent any double layer because it's just the shipping and it's just risky when you're dealing with food, you know.
Yeah, I know. I just want to try it. I haven't tried it, and I wanted to try it for my birthday that just passed, but I feel like it wasn't enough time for me to order a cake. You make the cake, then send it, and then it'll be arrived on my birthday. But I don't need a birthday to be like, let's have a cake. You know, so
Right. I was like, since when do people need a reason to eat cake?
to eat cake.
It's like it's a Saturday. Eat cake. That's reason enough. But yeah, I
Yeah.
have shipped before. I've sent to Hangzhou. Actually, I sent some cupcakes to Hangzhou to a
Joe.
lady.
Okay.
They arrived. She did the reveal. I was like, okay, the icing is gonna be a little iffy, but she was like, the cupcakes were good, and I ain't worried about the icing. I was like, well, all right then. I said, well, that was successful. So I really want to start sending cookies and single layer cakes, like pound cakes or pound cake slices. So
Cool.
that's something, that's something soon. You never know. Holidays coming up, especially for us Americans. Holidays coming up, that's when we really crave sweets, and it'd be nice to send some stuff out. So
Yeah. So, are you thinking about like, creating like a bigger sort of enterprise for yourself? Like, how are you baking your cakes? Like, you just baking them at home, or do you have a
yes,
spot you go to and bake?
I bake it at home. Um, Here in Beijing, the thing is like having an actual kitchen, and that's a little difficult trying to find one that's registered and all that you can use. It's not that
Mm.
many. In other cities, there's more options, but here in Beijing, it's not that many and to be done protocol wise. But the thing with me is deciding if and how I want to register here and back home. Um, the the thing that I was looking at is not only just having it where it was baking, but actually providing baking tools as well, so people can bake at home. So SugaMama is not just baking everything, but I eventually want to branch off and have it where I can provide the pans, the spoon, the measuring cups, the piping bags, so that people can watch my videos and be able to do it at home. So I don't want to just be baking it and
Okay.
sending.
Okay,
So
we got a little Sarah Lee going on, All right.
why not? Why I gotta be just Sarah? Why can't it be sugar? So so that's something that I really haven't seen is any baking enterprise branch off. Like I've seen the Wilton brand, but I haven't seen a baker. All bakers basically use Wilton. Every
Yeah.
baker uses a KitchenAid, but there hasn't been one that has their own brand of tools. They're always using somebody else's. As for chefs, they have they can make their own brand of something. So I figure that, okay, being here, how do you make stuff globally? Do you just situate it in one place? Do you just situate it just in the States? Do you just situate it in China? Or do you make it wherever I decide to settle, whether the States or here, I'm still doing business in both?
Yeah, I thought you
So
could just register in both.
yeah, I could. But even with that, there's like some red tape with that. Like, do I want to have a Chinese
Business
co-founder,
partner.
or how I want to? Yeah,
Yeah.
business partner. Yeah, like how do I want to go along with that? Is that somebody I trust? Do I want to have a WFOE? How do I want to go about it? So still looking into it, but in the meantime, it's building my clientele and skills. So once I finally do come out with that, it will all make sense. Like I said, Rogee's move in silence like lasagna. You can't register something. To me, I feel like it's backwards to like register something and you're not really good at it, rather than, okay, I took the longest to register, but I got clientele, I have people, I have things that I do, I have my own little portfolio of what I can do. So that's
Okay.
the route that
All
I'm
right.
taking.
Okay. So, you're looking into being bigger. You want to have your own tools. Is there anything else that we could be looking forward to from Chanel, aka Sugar Mama?
I want to have classes. I want to do classes on baking because I feel like it is something essential. Cooking, like living on your own. It wasn't until I was here that I realized a lot of people don't bake on their own or cook at all. So I think it would be something if I can host like some baking classes. Like, okay, let's do the
Oh,
essentials. You want to
you
make?
can do that.
Yeah, I can
I
do
think
that.
you could do
Yeah.
that. I think not only foreigners will want to do that, but Chinese people will also be interested in doing that if you decide to do it in China. Um,
Yeah, I think here would be the best place to, have a broader audience. But just something simple like, hey, you want to learn how to make banana bread or a chocolate chip cookie, or let's go real basic, a sugar cookie,
Right.
so people at least could bake something and feel confident about themselves. So I think that's, small stuff that people could do. Like, can you bake? Like, oh, I can bake this in comparison to I can boil water and make an egg, So
Hmm.
I I'll connect with the right people to get that started. Hopefully, sometime in the near future. So,
Yeah, I believe you can definitely do that. All right. Before we go, can you just, if somebody wants one of these pastries you got, how can they get in touch with you um, over the internet?
everything I do right now is via WeChat. So I can be contacted via my personal WeChat, Eccentric Queen 90, and then you will be referred to my SugaMama WeChat for further orders. So SugaMama 90 to be exact for
SugaMama.
things and future orders. So thus far I'm doing via WeChat.
All right. And what I always do before we end is I always ask my guests to have the last word. And anything you have on your heart or anything you want to say, anything you want people to know, you can say it now, and then we'll end.
Um, do not be afraid to leave the environment that doesn't seem to be helping you heal in anything or inspiring you to do something. So you basically you can't heal in an environment that hurts you. Um, don't be afraid to leave what is comfortable home in pursuit of your dreams, because that may be what helps somebody else. But if you feel like it's hurting you and it's not your biggest potential, do not feel any type of way to leave, because once you actually do leave, you realize that you are capable of so many more things, and to keep going. Like, don't feel any type of shame if you're like, this isn't for me, y'all. That was my personal story. And it's not, let's say, that the environment I was in was hurting me, but to me it was killing my path. It was killing my dream and killing me from getting on my path. And once you live in your path and live in your dream, you don't know how that fuels somebody else's life and somebody else's
Right.
dream. Me being SugaMama and doing what I'm doing, I don't know how that helps fuel somebody else to be on their path and their dream. But they wouldn't get there if I wasn't there. And that's
Right.
something to look at, the trickle down effect of how you affect other people. So that would be my words of wisdom.
All right. Well, beautifully said. And we're going to end right there. All right, guys. I'm Eric Charles. This is Chanel, aka SugaMama, and that is the Black Book Podcast. I'm just on a mission. I'm trying to